Everyone is talking about AI security these days, and honestly, they should be. But what if I told you that even a perfectly secure, locked down AI could still be a total disaster? Today, we are going to dig into why security is only one half of the story and why trustworthiness is the word you absolutely need to get familiar with. So, this is it. This is the big question we are tackling. It sounds pretty simple, right? But believe me, the gap between a secure AI and a trustworthy AI can be a difference between a game changing success and a catastrophic failure. So, what exactly is that difference? First things first, we have to get our heads around this idea that security, as important as it is, just isn't the full picture. It's the starting line for sure, but it is definitely not the finish line. Think about it this way. Focusing only on security is kind of like building a bank vault with walls of solid steel, but then giving no thought to who is allowed inside or what they can do once they are in there. You could end up with a system that's totally safe from hackers, sure, but it might also be incredibly biased, impossible to understand, or just causing real harm to people in its day to day operations. So let's nail down what we are actually talking about here. What do we really mean when we say secure AI versus trustworthy AI? Let's get clear about the terms. This slide really lays it all out. Over on the left, you have got secure AI. It's all about defenses, right? Protecting against outside threats like data breaches and hackers. But then to the right is trustworthy AI. That's all about the system's behavior. Is it fair? Can we see how it works? Is it spitting out answers we can actually stand behind? It's a huge shift in focus. And I love this quote. It just makes the whole thing click. Security is building the strong walls and locking the doors. Trustworthiness is making sure that the electricity works, the foundation won't crumble, and the layout is actually safe and fair for every single person who lives inside. You see, you absolutely need both. So, what happens when you have one without the other? Well, let's look at a few real world scenarios where perfectly secure systems failed and failed in a really spectacular way because they just weren't trustworthy. First up, a classic, almost a cautionary tale at this point. Picture a big company. They roll out this shiny new AI to screen resumes. And hey, they have done their homework on security. The system is locked down tighter than Fort Knox. Now, get this. The security checks all green, passed with flying colors. They did everything by the book, but the system is still an absolute train wreck because it's fundamentally untrustworthy. It's silently discriminating against entire groups of qualified people, all because of some hidden bias in its training data. And the fallout here isn't a data leak, it's something way worse. It's people's careers, it's discrimination, it's a massive legal and brand damage. That's the kind of harm that no firewall on the earth is going to stop. Okay, for our second case study, let's talk about something we are all seeing in the headlines, that is, large language models. And you guessed it, the core infrastructure can be perfectly secure, but the real trouble is lurking somewhere else entirely. And here we go again. All the standard security boxes are ticked, but the trustworthiness fails the moment users figure out how to jailbreak the model with these super clever prompts, tricking it into saying or generating harmful stuff. So the system's infrastructure is totally safe, but its behavior is completely off the rails. This really shows that things like content safety and model misuse, these are fundamental problems of trustworthiness. They need a completely different playbook, a whole new set of tests and controls that your average IT security team just isn't thinking about. For our last example, let's raise the stakes. We are talking about human health, a company that develops a breakthrough AI for medical diagnosis. It's secure in the lab. It worked like a dream. But this is the silent failure. The security is rock solid. But when they deploy it in a new hospital with different equipment, different kinds of patients, the model's accuracy just tanks. It fails silently. This is a failure of robustness. which is a key part of being trustworthy. It just wasn't tested enough in real world situations. I mean, the consequences here are genuinely terrifying. Misdiagnosis, actual patient harm, and a complete breakdown of trust from doctors and the public. These are outcomes that your standard security protocols on their own are completely powerless to prevent. Okay, so if security isn't enough, how in the world do we build real trust? Let's look at this growing ecosystem of standards and tools that are designed to do exactly that. Now, the key thing to see here is that we are not starting from zero, not at all. Organizations like NIST and OWASP are building a shared language, a toolkit for all of us. They are creating standardized, repeatable ways to measure things like fairness and safety, which basically gives everyone a roadmap to build trust. Take NIST's ARIA program, for example. It's all about measuring socio-technical risks. That's a fancy way of saying it looks beyond just the code to see how an AI system actually impacts people and society. It's all about those real world consequences we have been talking about. And then you have got something like OWASP AI Testing Guide, which is just a fantastic hands on resource. It gives developers and testers actual concrete tests they can run to check for things like fairness and privacy. It moves these big ideas from theory into something you can actually do. So, what does all this mean for you? How can you start baking trustworthiness into the work you do? Let's break it down into a few really important steps. This checklist isn't just a to do list, it's a total mindset shift. It starts by mapping out potential harms before you even write a line of code. Then you run those standardized tests we just talked about. You document everything so you have a clear trail. And once it's live, you have to monitor for things beyond security, like biased outcomes and performance drift. That is when a model slowly gets worse over time. And finally, you have to have clear governance. It's about building trust into every single step. And so we end right back where we started. Securing your AI, it's table stakes. It's non-negotiable, but it's trustworthiness that actually builds that bridge to making AI responsible, sustainable, and successful in the real world. So you have to ask, is your AI secure? But more importantly, you also have to ask, is it trustworthy? Thank you.